Hello, guys. Welcome to TB3U Season 2, Episode 9. Sad episode. Can't lie to you. Got to talk about some sad things. Man, just wasn't the best weekend. I think the best word to describe it was devastating, man. It was devastating. We might
heartbreaking.
Felt all the emotions, felt all the grief, sadness, anger, frustration. Some sleepless nights, especially over the weekend. But we got to talk about it because there's a lot of news. If you're a Bulls fan and you've been paying attention, man, it's been a hectic couple of days. Tiring. A lot of news, a lot of stuff going on. Colby, you were there on Tuesday speaking to Golesh. But yeah, the big story is, before we get into everything else, USF falls to Navy, the midshipmen, 41-38, which essentially not only ends their path to the CFP, the playoff, but mathematically they're still in it for the American title, but it's slim to none. And
I looked the Pro Football Network, kind of like PFF, but a different version, got their own mathematical equations. 8% chance for the Bulls to make the American Conference Championship game, 2.5% chance of the Bulls making the college football playoffs. So again, they're not dead, but they're on life support. They're on a ventilator right now. Their conference championship hopes and their CFP hopes.
Yeah, and I think the American crazy stuff can happen. We've seen crazier things happen, but I just feel like with the playoff, there's a chance. But I just think with that third loss, especially being Group of 5 team, everything would have to work in your favor. And even then, it's probably someone's going to end up having a better record than you and might even have the head-to-head. You look at, again, Navy, JMU. I know they didn't play, but they have such an easy schedule. It's going to be hard to say, well, a potentially 10-3 USF team should go over a 13-1 JMU.
Yeah,
I know their schedule's weaker, but that's going to be tough to. It's going to be tough to overcome.
You could maybe make that case for a 2-loss as opposed to a 1-loss, but when you're jumping 2 whole losses on a resume, you just can't do that. I don't care what conference JMU plays in. So, bottom line, there's some situations, there's some crazy things that could happen, but if for all intensive purposes, USF's season in terms of competing for a conference championship game and the college football playoff is over, and it ended in Annapolis on Saturday afternoon. Just really, really frustrating. Really gave me Memphis flashbacks. I think there was a lot of things that were the same about this game that there was against Memphis, and I think it starts with the defense. It really does. And I think you look at the defense. Navy goes for 524 yards total, 338 yards rushing. They average 6.4 yards per carry on the game. They have 3 huge plays in the first half, or in the game. A 76-yard touchdown, an 82-yard pass, and then a 60. Oh, where was it? I don't even. 64-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter to salt it away. So just huge, undisciplined, breakdowns by the USF defense that led to their defense being so ineffective. And I think that's really what this game came down to, is just defense giving up big plays and just not being able to stop the run, which we know is difficult. Navy was the number 1 rushing team headed into the game, but the Bulls got to be better. They got the personnel. They got to be better.
You have to be better prepared, and I think this falls a lot on the coaching staff and Todd Orlando and Coach Golesh. And I wasn't here last week, but having played college football and having played a wing T school in college, the biggest thing to win games against those teams is discipline and playing really, really sound assignment football, whether it's when they set us down for those meetings and stuff, when we played this team, we all had assignments. The defensive line had quarterback, edges had the runner, the dive, and the linebackers have to really be sound reading what goes on, filling their gaps when it comes. And I just think you really saw a lot of missed assignments in this game for USF. And then really, I think, as the second half went on, no adjustments were made. I think they even played a little worse than they did in the first half. They gave up some explosive plays, but you think for the second quarter of that game, they were able to get some stops. But as the game went on, man, they really, really lost control of that game, did not play discipline, did not play, gap sound defense, and it cost them, I think, especially looking at this stat. In the final 30 minutes of the game, Navy controlled the ball for 21 minutes and 57 seconds. And I know USF, they scored a higher clip. They had some big explosive plays themselves in the second half. But, you look at the in the third quarter, a 7-minute, 26-second drive, 13 plays, 42 yards, which ended in a punt. But you think of all that time that your offense was sitting on the sideline while your defense was struggling, and that drive was even extended off of a dumb running into the kicker on the punt.
Yeah.
So
that was the moment where they lost the game, was on that play. Yeah. I mean, again, just not being able to force any incomplete passes, and that clock is milked.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you look at, Byron Brown and the USF offense made play after play in the second half. They scored, long touchdown runs, passes. The receivers were awesome. Busting out trick plays. You got Nakai Davenport throwing a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
The offense was awesome in the second half. We'll get to their first half in the second, but the defense, when your offense makes these, spectacular plays and drives, you have to be able to get off the field following that possession. You have to be able to force a 3-and-out. You have to be able to get off the field on third down, and they just did not do it. Navy continually just salted the game away, and they did it in the fourth quarter with their backup quarterback. Mm-hmm. Blake Horvath got hurt in the fourth quarter, and their backup quarterback, Braxton Woodson, comes in, and he engineers 2 touchdown drives to salt the game away. He had touchdown runs of 64 and 20. Just kind of ridiculous. I think you mentioned kind of the scheme and the lack of adjustments. I think a great way to describe USF's defense in this game was complacent. I think the coaching staff was complacent. They went with a very vanilla way to stop the triple option. It was very predictable. It's something that Navy has seen. I think they did all the easy things you could do, and they didn't use any ingenuity. They didn't have any adjustments in the game. I think it was very, very complacent. I think the players were complacent. I think there was too many times where players just were not fighting their blocks like they should. We're not taking the angles that they should. There's plenty of times where, you can talk about assignment football, but you have to actually win your assignment. You have to actually make the tackle. You have to actually get through a block that is coming to you. You can't just roll over because you have a one-on-one matchup and you only have one guy you're responsible for. So I think the defense was complacent. I think there were some poor decisions by some of our leaders. Like I think Mac Harris and Jalen Schuler, man, getting caught multiple times on play action passes deep down the field. Missing some key tackles. I think, there's just a lot of complacency going on for this USF defense, and it's really, really frustrating considering how well the offense played in the second half.
Yeah, I think you could even add Fred Gaskin and Tavin Ward to that list, and that's one thing that that frustrated me a lot too with the defense is especially the passing game. Just wide open guys, wide open receivers, burning past our secondary. And, you want to talk about a talent aspect. That's one part of the game where your talent should win out. You should not have that big of issues that you did with their receiving core, just letting guys wide open. You didn't make it difficult on their backup when he came in either. Got no pressure on him. Didn't make him uncomfortable. And then again, you can say he had a great game. Well, he's throwing to wide open receivers, and he's running with open lanes. You didn't make it difficult on him at all. I know he got time playing against Notre Dame the week before, but still didn't put any pressure on him to come in relief. So
I think the defensive backs were pretty awful. Just quite frankly, the way the scheme was, it put Gaskin and Ward in a lot of position to make tackles, and I think they missed. I look at Tavin Ward on the Braxton Woodson touchdown play. He's kind of the person that's supposed to make that tackle on Woodson, and he gets easily blocked up. He doesn't, attack the block at all, and Woodson is gone, and that's pretty much the game-ending touchdown there in that game. And again, USF's defensive backs have been really, really good this season. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to cover the Navy receivers. Got a lot of respect for those guys, for the Service Academy guys, but skill position is not exactly a place that Navy should be getting open receivers or running past USF players. On outside or in receiver. I understand. Maybe the physicality is a little bit better for Navy, but the amount that USF's defensive backs were getting beat or making taking stupid penalties. I know starter James Chenault didn't play, but still. Just very, very, poor.
And they don't even complete passes. That's the thing. This isn't a team that they just don't have the talent. They just don't even pass.
Yeah.
It was a minute. It had been a while before they actually completed a pass until they did against USF. So, again, that's a group that's not very prepared either, and your secondary looked terrible.
Yeah, and then if we're good, I'd like to flip it over to the offense. Because again, we mentioned the offense was really, really good in the second half. 29 points in the second half. 4 of their 5 possessions, they scored touchdowns. That is good. That's good and all. However, the Bulls got off to another slow start. They were down 24-9 at halftime. For the 5th consecutive road game, USF allowed their opponent to score first and did not score on their opening possession. All 5 of their road games this season, that has been the case for the Bulls. And it really came back to bite them. In the first half, in road games, USF is being outscored by a combined 30 points this season. And it really, these slow starts, I think, is going to be the defining factor of this USF season and what has gone down. I really do. I think you look at the Memphis game, even the North Texas game, the Miami game, all of these, games, this game against Navy, slow, lackadaisical starts have cursed the Bulls. They should have ran away from that game, from Memphis in that game in the first half. They dominated that first half. They were sluggish to open. They were sluggish to finish drives. They kept Memphis in the game. Navy, they put themselves in too big of a hole. If this is a tie game at halftime, the Bulls run away from Navy in the second half. So these slow starts are just going to be the definition of this unfortunate end to a promising Bulls season.
Yeah, and I think not only slow starts, but just poor decision-making, I think across the board really hurt them as well. And it comes from players and coaching. I think on the first drive, it's 3rd and 8, and you decide to run the ball, and you get stuffed. And then the second drive is 3rd and 5, and you have a stupid false start penalty that backs you up, and Byron Brown gets sacked. I think those were silly mistakes. And I think, Byron Brown's interception, just a very poor read by him. And he had a phenomenal game, but just all around a lot of poor decision-making from the coaches and the players to kind of accumulate with that slow start.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback off your point, in the first half, a play that a lot of people have been talking about is the Cole Skinner fail on 4th and 1. We know that Cole Skinner has converted on short yardage plays twice this season. At the press conference on Tuesday, Alex Golesh reiterated that that's their 1-yard play. That's the one they feel most comfortable about. But you got one of the best running quarterbacks in the entire nation and maybe in your program's history. And, it's easy to question if that was the right call, and I don't know what your guys' thoughts on that were.
Yeah, well, I think it was the wrong call because not only, you can be confident. I'm totally fine with being confident in a play. You see the Eagles run the tush push all the time, and it works usually all the time. There's only been, the Bucs been able to stop it, and who was it? The Lions stopped it Sunday night, which was pretty impressive. But, so you go with, what works. But I just think, with the circumstances, playoffs are on the line. Conference championship is on the line. You don't put the ball in an offensive lineman's hands in that situation. You give it to, like you said, your playmaker. You give it to a guy who's having a Heisman caliber season. Or you give it to, your backs who have also done very well. You just put it in anybody else's hands but no lineman in that situation, especially you're down, you need a big play, and you do something silly like that, gimmicky, and they know it's coming. They know it's coming. They've seen on film that when Cole Skinner's in the game in the backfield, he's probably getting the ball. So, yeah, I totally disagree with that. I think that was a silly move.
Yeah, it's been said before, but give the ball to your best player.
Yeah, I agree. There's no one I'd rather the ball be in their hands than Byron Brown in that situation. I understand it works, but I think it was fun in a blowout game to give it to Cole Skinner and give the big fella a chance to score a touchdown in such a high magnitude moment. I don't want to take the ball out of your Heisman candidate's hands. I think it was the wrong choice. But I think you got to live with that. And again, you kind of have to live with the pushing of the needle and the trick plays and the boldness of Alex Golesh when it works and when it doesn't work. That's kind of just the nature. You can't praise it when it goes right. You can't be happy when these trick plays work or when going on fourth down works or, bringing that back to the Memphis game. You can't be happy when that stuff works and then be upset when it doesn't. You have to judge decisions based on what the coach's thinking and their philosophy is going into that decision. So again, I can't be too critical. Not what I would have done, but
Yeah.
I didn't also put USF in the position to go to the college football playoff. So I don't know if I have as big of an opinion.
I'm just a little critical because I think the trick play with Nakai Davenport throwing a touchdown. You needed to score fast. Your defense wasn't getting stops in the second half. You need to score fast. You need to come up with something explosive. Something that you haven't really shown that you've done. You've done in the past with Sean Atkins, of course, but that's something that Navy hasn't really seen. So I get doing it in that situation. But handing it off to Cole Skinner, you're down 24-9, and you really, really, really need points there, and you come up with nothing when, again, like we said, you have Byron Brown. I think you go, in that situation, you go a little more safe. You get through the game, and you're having trouble stopping a team, okay, then you maybe throw out all the cards, you throw out all the stops. I just think it's situational football. It's just a bad decision.
I think Golesh's rebuttal to that would be that the play is not gimmicky. He would say that it's worked twice already. It's what they always practice in short yard situation, and that's just what their play is, and they ride with it if it works and don't. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I don't know if I agree with that philosophy or with that being their short yardage play, but I can say that I don't know if it was a gimmicky play because I think that's just their short yardage play. And at the end of the day, that's just what they've chosen as their short yardage play, and that's all you can do. They had plenty of chances to make us forget about that play in the second half on offense and defense, and they didn't deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Byron Brown, great game, 327 passing yards, 136 rushing yards, 6 straight games with 200 passing yards, 80 rushing yards, and both a passing and rushing touchdown. So he's just putting up video game numbers. He's been awesome. Unfortunately, any type of legitimate national stage playoff or conference championship or even like making being a Heisman finalist, I think goes out the window with USF losing this game. But it's frustrating. It is a frustrating. There's still a lot to play for. The season's not over. I'm trying to be optimistic, but it's just very frustrating. And it's over the course of USF's history, unfortunately, this seems to be the end of every promising thing. Is just a poor effort, a choking loss, whatever it is. USF is still 28 years of football. Never made it to a conference championship game, so they're not really going to break that mold. And they have to either under Golesh or under someone else, find a way to break that cycle.
I think looking at this game in a more positive light, though, I just don't think they were going to win out the season. So as far as respectable losses go, I would prefer this one over Rice or over what's the next game? UAB.
They were beating. They're beating those two teams regardless. This was their winner.
But they were gonna choke on one of these games, and I'm glad it was this one. I'll put it that way.
Maybe that's
I see where you're coming from. It. Oh, are we back? Okay.
Okay.
I don't know when that cut out.
It's been going for a while.
When do you think I cut out?
Let's just rip it. We don't know what's going to happen. It's still recording. This is live. This is live talk. So, hey, just go back to your spiel. Go back. Just quickly redo your spiel.
Yeah.
Redo your spiel.
Okay, so do you want me to go all the way back or just a spiel about...
Just quickly summarize the Golesh stuff. And then
let me summarize.
Yes,
So this bozo...
We're in a mess.
This happened. This is what... We'll do it live. What was that guy's name? I don't know. But this happened. This is what happened. We've never had the restart episode because somebody messed up super bad. Like we just
let's roll.
We just roll with it, right? That never happened.
That's why God created the 15-second button, Skip.
Yeah. They'll figure it out. They'll see that.
Before.
Yeah, no one's ever messed. Yeah, we've never recorded a whole episode and then had to redo it because we lost it. We've never done that. Okay,
because somebody messed up. But yeah, so this Carson Cunningham guy, right? This Carson _OKC on X. He says.
Yeah, because it might be your feet.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
It's here. It's going. It keeps unplugging. Hold on. I'm just gonna
Do you want me to scoot this table closer?
No, it's fine. I'm gonna move and make sure. Okay. We're good.
Okay.
All right.
Here we go.
This
Take
is crazy.
3.
This is crazy.
Keep your feet still.
Yes.
Carson Cunningham, bozo, Oklahoma State. I think that part got through. But yeah, he says he reported the job. Alex Golesh. You report October 24th. He interviewed for the job. Blah blah blah. I go on his YouTube. I listen to the whole podcast. Right, the whole podcast, and this is the actual quote. If you didn't get it yet, this is the actual quote. If not, just skip through a little bit, and we'll talk about new stuff. This is the whole quote. And he says he reported this. He reported that Alex Golesh interviewed with Oklahoma State. But this is the actual quote. He says, and so I don't know. We'll have to see. But I do think, keyword think, he has really impressed the folks here in Stillwater. I do think there's been talks. I do think there's been mutual interest. I do think the search firm likes him a lot. I think Chad, the athletic director for Oklahoma State, likes him a lot. So that's not actual reporting, right? That is just speculation. And maybe he has reliable sources, and maybe he reported this somewhere else in like an article or something. No, that's not the case. I went through multiple Oklahoma State fan sites trying to going on this guy's LinkedIn, trying to find where he writes articles for. I go on the website, the website of this podcast. This guy hasn't written an article since 2017. Okay, so there's no reporting. That was it. That was the only quote where he says he reported it, and it blows up all over social media, all over Bulls Twitter, all over Instagram. It's a talk of the town. And, even national media sites are reporting this, and especially the bozos that we call the local media here just took it and spread it like wildfire and made some crazy accusations because, they don't really care about USF. They didn't even bother to look at what this guy said. He said, I reported on October 24th. That's when this podcast came out. But then the media goes, oh, Golesh was interviewing with Oklahoma State before the Memphis game. He doesn't even care. He's focused on, the next big job. He's not focused on beating Memphis, and we lose, and it's his fault. None of that's true. They don't pay attention. They don't care about USF. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, it's pretty easy to find who's the big media station here, and they've gotten in trouble before. Certain people have been ridiculed online by USF fans for not caring, but it's the truth. There's people like us here at TB3, Colby, me, Joel. We care about South Florida. We've done a lot to give you accurate research, accurate news. We want to give you all the inside scoop on this team because we know you guys care about the team, and so do we. And we're doing this for the love of the game. The love of the game. We have not reached a point yet to where we're getting paid to do this. We just do this because we care about the university. These other people don't. They don't even bother to do the research. They don't even bother to look into this, right? And we care. I said it. I don't know if we got cut out. I'm subscribed to a bunch of Oklahoma State football news sites because I wanted to get the inside scoop on our head coach, Alex Golesh. I want to be the first to know. I'm doing that for you guys, right? So that's a free advertisement again. Second advertisement to listen to us and follow us for the latest on the South Florida Bulls. And, we cover on our college football show, we cover the Gators and the Seminoles as well. And we cover the Bucks, Rays, and Bolts on the other side. So I'm begging you guys, listen to us. We will give you accurate news. And I think the biggest thing about us is we're not looking for the big headline. We're not looking to get out on the jump on dumb stuff or just, what's that rule in journalism? It's, it's not about being the first to report it. It's about being accurate, something like that.
Something like that.
And a lot of people go for I'm going to get the clicks. I'm going to go for the clickbait. I'm going to, just report on it. It might not be true. No, we're not going to do that here. We're going to give you accurate, real information. So with that being said, there's links to Golesh in Oklahoma State taking on that job, and that's really been the news. And it was asked at the presser on Tuesday if he was going, or if he was in talks with them. And what did he say?
He said, "I have not." That could mean that he has not, but his agency and his team have. It could mean that he just hasn't, and his team hasn't, and that was a false report. That I don't know. Both are up in the air. It's possible it's head coaching. He could just be flat out lying. I don't think he is the type, but it's college football. It's 2025. There's a lot going on. Like, it is definitely possible. But at the end of the day, like Will said, we're trying to give you guys the best content because we care about the fans. We care about what you guys are consuming. We don't want to, lead you guys astray. So we're not going to just jump on it. We can tell you that something's a report and tell you it's a rumor, but we're not going to tell you it's factual. So just know that. We're never going to tell you something that's factual that we don't know 100% is factual. But as of right now, there's just smoke and mirrors. Alex Golesh repeatedly said, we, us, this program, we got to, stuff like that, over and over and over again. He is focused on UAB, and that's what it is. It's smoke and mirrors, and we're trying to just focus on what's going on. Could Alex Golesh still leave? Absolutely. That is not off the table. USF is not a Power 5 job, Power 4 job, excuse me. That is always on the table. But there's just as easily he could stay. He could build something at a place that should be a Power 4 job soon. That should be, a place he can build, a place that can compete for the college football playoff for years to come. So it'll just be interesting. I hope he doesn't leave. I think there's a lot of USF fans have been very critical of Alex Golesh.
I think this whole situation is probably part of what's going to get him out the door. He's like, oh, this is how I'm going to be treated? Well, see you later.
But I don't think it's really him being treated poorly. Like, I think there's some...
but you said, the fans are not handling
There's
this
some good
well,
fans.
so.
There's some fans on Twitter,
Well,
but
I think
again,
we gotta
Twitter
talk
fans...
about that,
Twitter
dude.
fans are Twitter fans. I don't think that represents the whole entire fan base. I really think that... I think the majority of USF fans are with Golesh and they treat him well. And I think when he interacts with fans, I don't think he's scrolling Twitter. Maybe he is, I don't know. But I think there's plenty of people that are very harsh. They don't like the game management. They don't like that he gave the ball to Cole Scanner. They don't like that he went for the fourth down against Memphis. They don't like the quick 3 and outs sometimes from the offense. I get it, but he's dug USF out of the mud. They have 4 wins in Jeff Scott's entire tenure.
29 losses. And I have to go off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Because I truly don't understand. I don't understand from this fan base, especially, people who have been around the program for a long time, or at least who claim to on Twitter. It's like, trust me, guys, I've been around for a while. Golesh isn't the guy. And it's like, what planet are you living on? What planet are you living on? And people bring up the graphics like, oh, he's 1-7 against teams with a better record or this and that, and it's like, this guy is a first-time head coach in year 3, and after USF goes 1-11, this guy immediately turns them around, wins a bowl game, gives belt to Syracuse, a Power 4 team. And then, last year, a little bit disappointing, but you got to think maybe we didn't have Byron Brown, maybe we didn't have a Heisman-type player. And I think it's pretty easy to tell this year that, he was sorely missed last season.
Yeah.
It was very difficult going through the season with Bryce Archie. But what did he do? He still got you to a bowl game, and he won it for you. That's 2 straight years with a bowl win, and now he's going to another one at least, and hopefully, although don't get your hopes up, something magical happens, and maybe they win even more postseason games. But again, this is year 3, and I just think it's ridiculous to start bringing up like, oh, he can't win the big game. He has to figure it out, and I think that's a problem with so many of these Power 4 schools coming in and scooping up these guys after one magical season. These guys have to figure out how to win. And I think of the legendary Bobby Bowden, his famous quote, first you lose big. And we saw him in his first year lose big to UAB, FAU, UTSA, big losses. Then you lose close. And we've seen him lose some close games, going down to the wire. Then you win close. And you've seen some close wins. And then you win big, and we're starting to see bigger and bigger wins. Big wins going to the swamp, going to play Florida. I don't care how bad Florida is. Only Gators get out alive there. But the Bulls somehow did. Alex Golesh figured out how to get that team to rally and to win. You think a couple plays, they were close to beating Alabama. The Alabama team that went to the playoff. They were just a couple plays away from coming away with a win there. And that was in year 1. So I just think it's ridiculous. And no matter what you say, like, just the arguments I've seen, like, oh, Jeff Scott, he recruited Byron Brown. He recruited Jimmy Horn.
Seriously? Is that seriously? That's seriously what people are saying? Because this is a team that is the most talented USF team we've almost ever seen. We have 3 and 4 stars all over. There's some of the highest. Fred Gaskin, Jonathan Eccles are some of the highest rated recruits in ever in USF history, and they were recruited by Alex Golesh. That's stupid. That's dumb and stupid.
Yeah, and it's like, what does it matter about Jimmy Horn? He never played, or he doesn't play for you anymore. He doesn't play for USF, so big deal, you recruited him. And it's like, has Golesh's recruits not hit like you said?
Yeah, that's stupid. That's dumb. That's so stupid.
I mean, read me these names and tell me if I'm crazy. These are Alex Golesh recruits: Christian Neptune, Jeremiah Coger, Jonathan Eccles, Fred Gaskin, Ira Singleton, James Chenault, Nakai Davenport, Alvin Isaac, and even his first year, he comes in late, because some of the guys are already recruited for that season in 2023. But what does he do? He signs Keyshawn Singleton.
Yeah.
Brings him in. Think
about the transfers. Chaz Nimrod. Yeah,
Travion Mitchell.
Devin Lee. Josh Seleskar.
Medea Rubin had a great game. We forgot to mention. Great game.
He got that
Navy.
big fat butt on that dude's head, and he wasn't able to get tackled. That was a great play. But yeah, it was. Yeah. Just looking up, I'm pretty sure this is factually accurate. This is AI, though. I should know this. I'm bad with my USF stats, but USF has only won 10 or more games twice in their program's history. 2016, 2017. This could be their 3rd time if they win their final 2 regular season games and their bowl game. So again, let's have some perspective. Alex Golesh would have 10 wins in his 3rd season. He would have all the ability to run it back. Hopefully bring back Byron Brown for his final collegiate season next year. Have a lot of returning talent, have plenty of resources and ability to get people in the portal, a really good recruiting class coming in. So, again, people who are happy that Golesh might be leaving or want to fire him.
You're an idiot. I'm sorry, you're a complete moron. And there's 2 more rebuttals I have to make to some arguments I've seen on Twitter, and it's, the amount, the budget we have on this current roster shouldn't have lost to a bunch of service academy members. And it's like, is Navy still not a good team?
Do these people know how many wins Navy gets? They're 8+ games a year.
Who won the American last year? Who won it?
I think it was a service academy.
It was Army. And then who beat the piss out of that team a week later? Navy.
Yeah.
Killed them. And Navy goes on and beats Oklahoma in the Armed Forces Bowl. And what does Navy do this year? They win. And they've consistently won in this conference. They've consistently won as a program. They have a well-established program. They recruit for what they run on offense. They have a good recruiting system. They find the right players. And they develop guys. And they're disciplined. They're a service academy. They're disciplined. And it's like money and rosters don't guarantee you wins in a game. And to be clear, I will lose sleep over the loss to Memphis and Navy because you should have won. But at the end of the day, in college football, sometimes you can't win them all. You can't win every single game. And I just think, can anybody tell me in this room who has the most expensive team, the highest budget for a team in college football this season? Can anybody tell me?
Is it it's a bad team, isn't it? It's Texas Tech. That's a good team, but no.
Texas Longhorns.
Wow, okay.
Most expensive roster in the FBS, and they're not going to make it to the playoffs. Do you think Steve Sarkisian is a bad coach?
They lost to Florida, and USF beat Florida. Just saying.
Do you think he's a bad coach?
He's not, and I'm going to piggyback off this point because I've seen this argument too, and it's, again, idiotic, people. Come on. Again, you can't just stick $10 million. Oh, it's a $10 million route. You can't just stick $10 million and just be like, oh, it's going to work. You can't just throw $10 million in college football and think it's just going to magically work. You have to weave those things together, and it's a process. And again, you could have 9 to 10 wins this year. It could work. I don't know where USF has never been to a conference championship game. They have never made the college football playoff. Why is that the expectation? Why is it playoff or bust? They've never made that. USF fans have no right to make that the expectation because it's never ever happened. And for the second part is, why do you think we have so much money and so many resources going to the USF football program? Let's take a guess. Probably because Alex Golesh has helped lead the charge for a total revamp and refocus of the USF football program. Who was the coach? Who was the coach when USF got their first on-campus stadium? It was Alex Golesh. And you got to give a lot of credit to the administration, to Michael Kelly, to Jay Stroman, those other guys. But again, Alex Golesh has led the charge, and his teams and his recruits and his ability to fundraise is a huge reason why that money is coming. So you can't just say, oh, Alex Golesh was gifted $10 million. No, he got that $10 million for his program. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And then I got one more because this one bugs me the most. And let me just be clear before I get into this. You have every right as a fan to be upset about Memphis and upset about Navy. Every right. This is none of what we're talking about right now has anything to do with those losses or, that should make you feel better. No, those were bad losses. They should have won those games. They should have been more prepared against Navy. They shouldn't have choked against Memphis. You can be mad at Golesh all you want because I'm upset with them. I think they weren't prepared for Navy. We already talked about that. But this is just going back to a lot of people, and I know there's some voices out there, and I think it's cancerous to this program. And again, recruits see this stuff. Recruits see it. Maybe Golesh doesn't see it, but recruits see this. Other fans see this, and you cause division amongst your program. You cause strife, and you lose faith. You lose support, and it's just bad. It's just so bad for the program. And you know who you are. You guys know who you are, who are kind of spreading this stuff, and it's ridiculous. But the one thing I saw, and this is the one that made me the most mad, is a lot of people are talking about how USF, in those 2015, 2016 years, did more with less in a tougher conference, a tougher era of the conference. And it's like, that point is just so crazy. Because it's like, do you even watch? Did you actually watch the games? Were you a fan of USF then? Because I just have to read the schedule. Okay, 2016 USF. This was their tougher schedule and a tougher conference than what they're in now. They played 4-8 Syracuse. These are non-conference. 4-8 Syracuse. 5-7 Northern Illinois. That was their tough non-conference. Wait, so much more tougher than Boise State, the Gators, Miami. And then here's this tough conference schedule they played. 4-8 Cincinnati, 3-9 ECU, 3-9 UConn, 5-7 SMU, 6-7 UCF. Another non-conference, they get blown out by Florida State that year. They played 10-4 Temple, lost by 16. Their best win that year, either 9-5 Navy or 8-5 Memphis. You tell me that's a tougher version of this conference than it is now? Are you serious? 2015, they're non-conference. They played FAMU. They got blown out by FSU. They got killed by 3-9 Maryland. They beat 4-8 Syracuse. They played 6-7 UConn, 2-10 SMU, 5-7 East Carolina, 7-6 Cincinnati, 0-12 UCF. Did they play any 0-12 teams this year? I don't think so. Their best win that year, 10-4 Temple. I guess that's a solid win. That team ended up losing to Houston in the American Championship game and got killed by Toledo, a MAC school, in the Boca Raton Bowl. So I like, again, it's just crazy because this was Willie Taggart. This was Willie Taggart. And fans are saying, like, oh, you didn't do that bad. You recruited okay. We're really going to pull the Florida State move of, oh, Willie Taggart wasn't that bad. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's just idiotic. And it makes me think like, oh, trust me, guys, I know ball. Do you really? Because those schedules are terrible. That's terrible. Look at the teams they've had to play. They've had to play an explosive, electric North Texas. They played a good Memphis team. They played a good Navy team. They've played tougher teams in this conference than what they played in the past. So I don't want to hear about how they did more with a tougher schedule. No, they didn't. You can maybe go back to the Big East days of the mid to early 2000s. That was a much tougher conference. And again, none of those teams ever made it to the conference championship. So I don't know what the difference is now. I don't know how all of a sudden it was conference championship or bust. Again, I'm disappointed because they should be there. They should have been there. We should be celebrating because now we got 2 cupcakes in a row and we should be waltzing in, but we're not. But again, you can be frustrated, but it's a process. And I believe in Coach Golesh, and I want to see this guy figure out how to win the big games. I want to be a part of this team when he does figure out how to beat Memphis, when they play Tulane and they figure out how to beat them, when they beat Navy, even though Golesh has already done that. He's already done that in his career here. I want to be there for it. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And you got to stop. You have to stop. And I think it would be a shame. It would be a shame if Golesh leaves this program. It would be a shame.
I agree. I agree with everything you said. We're going to move on. We got to keep it moving.
Gotta keep
quickly.
it going. That was the last point.
Real quickly, what we're going to do, Joel, I'm going to ask for your prediction for the UAB and one key storyline. Then I'm going to give it to you, Will, and then I'll do it. Joel, one key storyline.
Do they pick themselves up? I mean, like they need one win, or no, they're already bowl eligible. So, I mean, they really don't have much more to play for this year. Can they pick themselves up from the bootstraps and win some more? Or are they just going to kind of wait out to the bowl game and just have some fun there?
Prediction?
Honestly, there's a lot around the team right now. I think they're going to lose.
Wow. USF lose to UAB. Got to score.
It'll be close. Let's go 28. I'm going 28, 27. I'm
All
going
right.
crazy close. It is a heartbreaker.
Will, big storyline and then a prediction.
Well, I think that's something important to factor in is when the season feels like it's over. It certainly is not, and I think I'm really looking to see if this team can overcome that and feel like it's not over. But from someone who's been in there in the post-game press conferences, who's talked to these players, who's been at all the games, I think this team is locked in, and I think they got a bad taste in their mouth, and I think they're going to kill UAB. I think they're going to destroy Mr. Pito, Jalen Kitna, or Ryder Burton. They kind of have a 2-quarterback system, which is kind of crazy. They've had to prepare for 2 quarterbacks a lot this season. Look at South Carolina State, Memphis, even Navy. They've had to prepare for 2 quarterbacks. So And UAB's terrible stopping the run. They're absolutely horrible. I think they get 5 rushing touchdowns in the red zone against North Texas, who just beat the brakes off of them. I think USF wins big. I think they're angry. I'm saying 66-21.
For me, I think my biggest storyline is how will the offense come out early in the first quarter. I mentioned, slow starts, haven't scored in their first possession. They've played really good teams on the road. Their 5 road games have been significantly, tougher than their 5, or I guess at this point, no, it's 5, than their 5 home games. But USF has shown the ability at home to come out strong, to come out firing, to score in their opening possessions and get a big lead. I would like to see USF do that against UAB this weekend and jump out to a big lead. So that's my key storyline. I think they're going to do it. I think this team is going to be focused. Too many player leaders on that team, to let this team's focus be lax. I think USF wins. I think they win something along the lines of like a 49-21 game. And yeah.
That game is
3
this Saturday,
p.m.
3 p.m. on ESPN Plus.
ESPN Plus.
Nice.
We've only had a couple of ESPN Plus games, but
Those are some of the best. I mean, they're easy to find.
You lose
Pop
the
the
big-
app on, and there it is.
you lose the big ones, you go back to ESPN Plus. All right, Will, we're gonna move up the state to Tallahassee.
Yeah, this is Florida State. 5-5 Florida State defeated Virginia Tech 34-14. It was kind of a nice little confidence boost after all the stuff that's happened this season in Florida State. They've had a pretty awful season and a lot of rumors swirling about all kinds of stuff, and it's hard to focus. But that team sure did versus Virginia Tech. They struggled on defense a lot, giving up 363 yards of total offense. But I think, the big thing was bending and not breaking, coming up with some huge plays when needed. Jerry Wilson, interception on the opening drive, and then on the second one, a huge TFL, forced Virginia Tech to settle for 3, and they missed, and you only allowed 14 points. So solid performance by the defense, I think. Still gave up a lot of yards and certainly a lot of rushing yards. Drones is a heck of a player, so you got to give some credit to them, but you came out to win. Biggest takeaways, I think, Tommy Castellanos, he's been dealing with some injuries past couple weeks. I think what stood out to me is he seemed fully healthy. He seemed a lot more explosive and elusive. He came up with some big plays. He was 12 of 24 in the air, 189 yards, 1 touchdown, 45 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns, an average of 6.4 yards per carry. And somebody who's had just a quiet season because of, just how not great Florida State has been is Deuce Robinson. Versus Virginia Tech, 6 receptions, 134 yards, and a touchdown. That is an ACC leading 5th 100-yard game of the season, and the most for a Seminole since Rashad Green in 2014. Rashad Green, kind of the unsung hero of that receiving corps in the Natty Champs days. Shout out to Deuce Robinson. Man, he struggles with bobbling it a little bit. He makes some crazy catches, but Virginia one obviously will haunt me for a long time. And then in this game, he kind of had the same thing happen. He made a crazy catch, and then sure enough, replay comes and he bobbles it for like a half second. The big thing, though, is that, I'm going to go right into the game to NC State. Big thing this year. A lot of stuff on the line. You have a chance. You have 2 cracks at it to make it to a bowl game, to be bowl eligible this season after the 2-10 season last year. And you have 2 tough games. You really do. And this NC State game, man, this will be Friday at 8 p.m. on ESPN. You go up to Raleigh. And Florida State has historically had trouble playing at Raleigh. They have not beaten them there since 2019, and they are 8-8 playing there since joining the ACC. I'll read you the losses here: 2022, 2020, 2018, 12, 10, 2006, 2002, 1998. So a lot of those have come in this
And a pretty
century.
long road losing streak in general for FSU, right now.
Yeah, they have not won a road game this year, so that's something that needs to change. Especially when you have a bowl game on the line, Mike Norvell's job could be on the line. He had a vote of confidence for the rest of the season, but they said they would reevaluate. So, I mean, I think a lot of people might not be happy with him coming back, but I think certainly it would help getting yourself into a bowl game, especially after going 2-10. I mean, that still looks good for your resume at least. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. NC State. This is, believe it or not, they rank last in the FBS in passing yards allowed per game. Last in the FBS. So this, we talked about Deuce Robinson. This is somebody you have to get going in this game. Mekhi Danzy. Get these guys going. And for defense, man, you've had I think that's just been so frustrating with Tony White and how bad this defense has played. You have to get after this quarterback. You have to get after CJ Bailey. He can really sling it, and he can make some plays.
He's a good player.
But I think, the one thing about his game is he lets the lows get a little too low. He's had multi-interception games. He starts to hold on to the ball too long. He takes a lot of sacks. So you have to get after him in the pass rush. You have to make this guy uncomfortable. You have to force some turnovers and really put a cramp in his style. So I think that's what you really have to be concerned about. Hollywood Smothers, their running back, he's been dealing with an injury. He might not be able to play against Florida State. He's missed, I think, the last 2 games. But if he comes back, man, I'm just so worried about the rushing defense. And will they be able to stop him? So if he plays, that's something to look out for. So hopefully he doesn't. And that's just one less weapon that the Seminoles have to worry about. But that's really it. Got to get after CJ Bailey and attack this terrible passing defense if you want to get out alive and beat the Wolfpack.
Okay, couple questions. Any frustration that you lost the James Franklin Bowl on last Saturday?
No, I don't want him.
You don't want him? All right, fair enough. I think that's a great hire for Virginia Tech. By the way,
I think it seems good for them.
I think he would have been a good for FSU, but I understand. And the second question is, it's a follow up question. Will Mike Norvell, if you have to make one answer or one proclamation right now, will he be the head coach next season?
I think it really depends on if he makes a bowl game or not. I think that's kind of like a big thing. Like if you fumble both of these games away, especially losing another loss to a rival, another road loss, I think it's going to be hard to really have him come back. But again,
does he need to win the bowl game?
I think he'll be back
by the time they make that. By the time the bowl that decision will be.
But
made.
I think it's kind of, unless they have their guy ready and waiting and he's willing to jump ship, I think you're keeping him, especially just because of that buyout. Yeah. Maybe it's an early exit next year if they struggle. But I don't know. I got to vote. I got some confidence. This is from In the Coop podcast. This is Robert Cooper. Who also he does it with Kalen DeLoach, former Buccaneer. Just kind of talking about Mike Norvell, and you don't really hear a lot of people defending him because most of the Twitter hates him, most of the fan base hates him. And
and Twitter is such a great representation of all fans.
What
I said, Twitter's such a great. I love Twitter.
I think USF is a little different. I don't know if there's really one FSU fan who actually likes Norvell at this point, other than maybe me. But this is what Robert Cooper said, former defensive tackle. He said, I was one of the players who didn't like Norvell when he came in. I didn't even go to the first team meeting with a bunch of others, but then look what happened. I bought in, team captain, racing Norvell every day, and we're still tight like I'm on the team. He kind of went on a rant on Twitter, but really just kind of believing in him and what Norvell's accomplished at FSU, and I just think truly don't listen to what you hear from journalists and media until paper's been signed, until it's been official, because I just think You hear that from these guys buying in, and there's reports that the team's bought out, that they don't care anymore, that they're done with Norvell, but we don't even know if that's true. And you see guys like this still believing in him, some alumni. So, hey, man, we don't know what's going on in that locker room. We don't know what's going on in those player-led meetings and what's going on. So if this team still bought in, which I still think they are after they've had some big bounce-back wins, if they finish strong this year, I think I'll believe that they're locked in. So maybe give Norvell a chance. Maybe you just give him one more year. I hate to say it because everybody's gonna hate me for that take, but I think you give him one more year.
I think he's going to come back too. And as a Florida fan, I'm excited about it. Mm-hmm. But I understand, and the buyout's huge. So it kind of just for that buyout. I just don't like anybody in this. That's fair. There's more jobs than there are quality coaching options for sure.
And again, I'm happy we didn't get James Franklin because I'll be darned before I get excited about a 9-win season where they don't win anything. And
well, there's just not those big games in the ACC like there is in the Big Ten.
Which, that makes me mad. Because you have maybe 1 or 2 games in the Big Ten that are big. And I know it's a little different. You had Oregon, you had USC, who's done a lot better. But before that, I mean, come on. If you play in Ohio State and maybe Michigan, those are your only 2 tough games. And they didn't play Michigan every year.
Yeah, for sure. I get that.
With the ACC, it's the same thing. You're playing Clemson, playing Georgia Tech, Miami. You're playing maybe 1 or 2 tough games a year in the ACC, and they're still the only conference. And I think they're stupid, but I think it's a little unfair what's happened to them. It's just they're the only conference that has a lot of cannibalism, a lot of wins. We've seen all the ACC teams this year get upset by somebody, but for them, it's just a weak conference, but it's never like, maybe it's kind of tough to win in the ACC. Maybe it's tough to go on the road at some of these places and come out with wins. So I just think it's unfair to them in that aspect.
I get that for sure. I think the Big Ten gets a lot more credit than it deserves. I think FSU wins a real tight one on Friday. That'll be my prediction. I think they win 27-24.
I guess they win this one. I don't know. Between I think they're going 1-1 between these 2 games. It's like which one are they winning?
I think they lose 21-10. And then if they win, I'll be happy.
Yeah,
there you go. There's extra stakes in the Florida game.
Yeah. No, I'll hate that because then it'll be even worse.
But it'll be even better.
Fair for viewing purposes. Speaking of Florida, I don't really have anything on the game. Solid effort. You go wire to wire with Ole Miss on the road, but there's just been a lot of coaching news with the Gators this week. You have Lane Kiffin and his family, visiting Gainesville, and then he visited Baton Rouge. You have today.
And is that stuff accurate? Like,
yes,
is that real?
Yeah, that is confirmed.
Did he just do it to troll? I think that's like a troll.
It's possible.
It's
definitely. I just wanted to get my favorite restaurant.
It is for sure. It is for sure possible. And then on the flip side, you have today a report that they are meeting and interviewing Tulane head coach John Summerall for the job. And then about an hour later, a counter report says John Summerall is taking his name out and they are not meeting with him. Not exactly sure. Definitely was a lot of backlash. At this point, the Florida fan base is Kiffin or bust. Anyone other than Kiffin, even if it's a quality option. I think if you guys have listened, you guys know I'm not fully on the Kiffin train, the Lane train, if you will. I'm not fully, convinced he's the savior of Florida. I've kind of come along to him. I think he could do a good job, but I'm not as enamored with Lane Kiffin as the majority of the Florida fan base is. But the fact of the matter is, if Lane Kiffin does not go to Florida, the Florida fans are not going to be happy with any other candidate that is hired. I don't think that's the right move, but that is just the truth. I don't know if the backlash is what caused John Summerall to pull out or if it was something else, if it was a fake report. I have no idea. But at the end of the day, I think Lane Kiffin's going to end up in Florida. I do. I think just Ole Miss, it's been reported that there is a contract on the table. They've given him a deadline to sign it. They seem to be fed up with kind of his antics. And yeah, I think Lane Kiffin's going to be the quarterback I think Lane Kiffin's going to be the coach of the Florida next year. And I don't know if DJ Lagway is going to be a quarterback. I think he'll be retained. But man, watching DJ Lagway this season has been it's been rough. It's been really rough. It's been, poor footwork, poor decisions, poor accuracy, just it all. He really has regressed hardcore this season. And you got to blame some of the coaching, but you got to blame some of it on DJ. That's been my biggest takeaway is just how poor DJ Lagway has played, overall this entire season.
Yeah, that interception was pretty costly there in the second half of that Ole Miss game. I don't know if Lane. I really don't know if Lane. I'm not sold on him going to Florida, honestly, because I just think this could all be a huge.
I'm saying 65%. I think he goes to Florida.
But what if he goes on a run? Like his Old Miss is probably going to the playoffs.
But the sick part about it, the dumb part, is if he chooses LSU or Florida, he's not going to coach them for the playoff. He's gonna be gone.
Wow!
They already have a plan in place for an interim coach and stuff like that. Yeah,
but like as
wild.
a coach, would you want to give up that opportunity to go coach at Florida?
Again, if I was Lane Kiffin as a Florida fan, I would not go anywhere.
I mean, Ole Miss is going to burn your house down if you do that.
But he's already been through that with Tennessee. He is a bit of a jerk. That is a fair point. I would stay at Ole Miss if I was Lane Kiffin, but I don't know if that's his thing. And I agree. I wouldn't want to leave the team early, but that's just where we are as college football. Yeah.
They got to figure that out sooner than later.
I think the portal needs to be way later down the line, but that's another conversation.
100%.
Yeah.
It's dumb that it's in the middle of bowl games and playoffs. It's so stupid.
It's very dumb. But yeah, they got Tennessee at home. Tennessee has not beaten Florida in Gainesville since 2003. I think it's hilarious to think about Tennessee losing this game on Saturday. It's just hilarious with how much Florida has owned Tennessee, even when Tennessee has probably been a better program over the last 10 years or so ish, kind of better, definitely better over the last 5. But yeah, it's just funny in the swamp. I think Florida's going to pull one of these next 2 games, either against Florida State or Tennessee. I really do. And I kind of think it's going to be this week. I think Florida's going to win this week.
You know how I love those streaks. It's like you tell me that, it's like, oh, they got to win then. Let's make it 22 years or whatever. 22 years of patheticness in the swamp.
Seriously.
Yeah, I think Florida has a real shot of winning that game. You got to give credit to the staff for keeping them locked in.
The Kentucky game, they were
the
not
Kentucky
locked
game.
in.
I don't know what happened there. I really don't. I don't know what happened there.
It was wild.
But I mean, they gave it their all versus Georgia. They really handed it to Ole Miss, and so it really just depends on what Gators team comes out on Saturday. I think you need to can your defense just come up with one more masterclass and shut down this number 2 ranked offense, Tennessee. That's really a big thing. And then DJ Lagway again. I think of this game kind of like the Texas game. If he has a game like that and the defense plays like how they kind of played the whole season outside of Kentucky, I think the Gators win. But if you don't have those 2 things, Gators lose.
I agree. And what's going to happen?
I think the Gators actually win. I think they win 27-23. I just think if Tennessee couldn't beat them, what was that, 2 years ago with Joe Milton?
I was at that game. He was so bad.
I don't know how they're going to win now. I was high on Tennessee, but I'm not a believer anymore. I like believing in Tennessee for some reason. But
Joel, who you got? Florida?
Florida, yeah.
I got Florida winning convincingly, 34-24, Gators. Do you got the games pulled up? We can really rapid fire. It's a pretty poor slate, but let's
Yes, I
quick.
do. I have them up here. Sorry. Okay, here we go. So don't freeze on me now. I had it like froze. Okay. Wow, my action's going on right now.
Chills.
Let's see. What do we get?
There's nothing.
It's a
Okay,
poor-
12 o'clock, ABC. 22 Missouri at Oklahoma. You know,
Big win for the not for the Pokes, for the Sooners.
we're battling for the playoffs. That's right. Playoffs. It's a big game for the Sooners. Can Missouri, I mean, I don't think they're going to the playoffs. They've gotten whooped by any team with a pulse. But they could play spoilers. They could really play spoilers. I think this is upset watch for Oklahoma. You just got to be careful playing against Mizzou. Oklahoma has a lot of good things working out for them, but I think I'll take money line here. Give me Oklahoma.
I was really impressed with Oklahoma. I did not expect them to go out there and do that against Alabama. I'll take Oklahoma as well. I think they win big.
I'll go Oklahoma.
Yeah, college football college game day, game of the week, Washington State, James Madison. Not. So funny how they thought those idiots. They thought they were going to get college game day for hosting Washington State. Did you see any of that?
No, not.
And they reported
I missed
that it
some of
was
that.
coming. The college game day was coming. And of course, they had to rescind that. 3:30 CBS. Finally, what's those guys' names? We finally get a good game to call.
Brad and Gary. Hey,
Yeah.
they did Oregon, Indiana.
Okay,
They did Oregon. They've had a couple good ones, and I felt good for them.
good for them.
Yeah.
They get another good one. Number 15 USC at Oregon. Oh, I want to pick USC so bad. I love Mayava. I think Lincoln Riley's he quieted the haters a little bit. They're a fun team. I love their offense. I don't know if they can beat Oregon though.
You're forgetting one key thing.
They can.
They don't win big games. Give me Oregon.
They beat Michigan.
That's not a big game. Michigan stinks. They squeaked by Northwestern last week.
But it's any given week in the Big Ten.
Oh
man.
yeah, here we go.
Give me USC.
All right,
Give
I
to
like
me.
it.
I'm taking
I like-
USC.
You're taking
Wow.
USC
Yeah.
too?
Wow.
Hate Oregon.
Oh man, this is brutal. Hey, Duke, North Carolina, rivalry game.
Duke wins big.
30. You think Duke beats North Carolina? Yeah. You think North Carolina has any chance?
Yeah, oh, they do. They do for sure. Like, it's the ACC. They've been playing a little bit better, but I got Duke. I think Duke comes out. Manny Diaz got those boys firing up.
Yeah, give me Duke.
Give me that Mayo.
I guess, just kind of teams to root against. 3:30, East Carolina at UTSA. Let's go UTSA on that one. Got to root for them. 3:45, Tulane at Temple. Go Temple, man. Come on, give it to me. Oh, man, these are bad. Oklahoma State at UCF.
All right, bro.
This is
Wrap it
terrible.
up. Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
I'm scrolling. Okay. 7-3 Pitt at Georgia Tech. 7
It's a
o'clock
big
on ESPN.
game.
That's a pretty solid game.
Pitt's going to win this game, isn't it? Gosh, bro.
Really?
I only care about conference games.
I think after that he lost the team. I'm going Georgia Tech.
I just feel like Georgia Tech should win, but they're not trustworthy. Give me Pitt.
North Texas at Rice. We have to root for Rice here.
Go Rice.
Go Rice.
Go cook them in the slow cooker. Go Rice.
Yeah. A fun one. BYU, Cincinnati, 8 o'clock on Fox.
Be on them like white on rice, baby. Let's go.
I bet those Mormons get this one.
BYU and who? In Cincinnati.
They've been a surprisingly fun team.
They lost last week though to the Wildcats, to the Zona, and they
Yeah, tough loss. But
and,
it's
and
close.
they obviously can't play against big cats. So give me the Cougars.
But BYU is pretty terrible on the road. This is a road game.
Give me the Cougars.
Oh, what about this game? I don't know if you said it yet, but the TCU. Oh wait, never mind. That was already played. The Christian versus Mormon game was last week.
And the Mormons won.
Yeah.
Gosh, dang
Fortunately,
it.
we've already established we hate them more.
Yeah, we have that on video.
But that's really it, unless you're a sicko at 10:30 and you watch San Jose State and San Diego State, two electric offenses. San Jose State 3-7. Sad. That's sad. But yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah, that's it. So if you are looking for some pro sports coverage, make sure to check out TB3 Maine. I think it's episode 105. It's on the channel now. Subscribe to the channel. Comment down below if you are an Alex Golesh believer or a hater. Let us know your thoughts on Alex Golesh. Is he going to be the coach next season? What do you guys want? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Make sure you guys are following us on Instagram at TB3 Sports Talk and also at X on TB3 Sports Talk. And yeah. subscribe, share this video with a friend, and most importantly, have a beautiful and blessed night.